Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Om Shri Mahaganapataye Namaha Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Padyantam Vande Guru Paramparam Asmad Gurubhyo Namaha श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानामालयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ओम श्री मेधा दक्षिणामूर्ति स्वामिने नमः। ओम सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम। ओम पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्धदामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम् यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्र रुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्कपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तन्न विदुःसुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः। यदृच्छया चोपपन्नं स्वर्गद्वारमपावृतं सुखिनः क्षत्रियाः पार्थ लभन्ते युद्धमीदृशम्। I think this was the sloka that we just seen the sloka. I think I have not done the anvaya and also the meanings. So I will first tell you the anvaya. He Partha, Sukhinah Kshatriyah labhante idrisham yuddham upapannam yat richaya cha apavritam swargadwaram. So Bhagavan is saying, O Arjuna, he Partha, Sukhinah Kshatriyah. Here the word Sukhinah, even though it means, it has a meaning of being happy, here we have to take it as fortunate. Sukhinah Kshatriya is the fortunate Kshatriyas. Only the fortunate Kshatriyas, labhante, get, idrisham yuddham, such a dharmic war to fight, such a righteous war to fight, upapannam, which has come to you, yat richaya, by chance. It is not that every Kshatriya gets to fight a dharma yuddha. So this has come to Arjuna by chance. Cha apavritam, and which is an opening. For what? Swargadwaram, to the gateway to heaven. So we must recall here that after completing the philosophical teaching, Atma Jnanam, and then also pointing out the dharmic reasons why Arjuna should fight this war, Bhagavan is now coming down to the level of Arjuna's probable thinking that I am not interested in Atma Jnanam, I am not interested in Dharma and all that. So he is now talking to Arjuna from the point of view of Laukika, that is worldly affairs. So he says, only fortunate Kshatriyas get to fight such a dharmic war which has come to you by chance and which is an opening to the gateway to heaven. Now, Sanskrit students, there is one small, a grammar issue here. The word Sukhinaha Kshatriyaha, which is there, that should be, the both Visarga should be pronounced fully. Normally, grammar rules, Sandhi rules, or Visarga will be dropped. But here, the Visarga has to be pronounced fully. That is the rule for reading. There is a Panini Sutra, which means wherever a Visarga is followed by Ksha, the letter Ksha, Kshatriya is Ksha, right? The Visarga should be completely pronounced. So, Sukhinaha Kshatriyaha we should pronounce. There is a similar case we will get in the 5th chapter also. Sharpare Visarjaniyaha is the Sutra, Paniniji's Sutra. So, Sukhinaha Kshatriyaha Parthaha. So, what Krishna is pointing out to Arjuna is, hey Arjuna, you should look upon this opportunity that you have got as a great blessing. Because for a Kshatriya, to sacrifice his life in a war is considered to be a very great act of valor. And it is probably, I'm not very sure, we talk of the suicide squads and all that in some cultures, in some communities. Probably all those kind of thinking has come out of this kind of from Indian culture only rather. But of course, they are using it for all the wrong reasons. Nothing dharma involved, dharmic thing is not at all involved in that. And secondly, they are not also Kshatriyas who are doing all this. They are Mechas who are doing it. It's a all different matter. But the idea is that in a suicide squad, one set of people come forward and they say that we are ready to sacrifice our lives for the sake of our religion or for the sake of our country or whatever it is. So here also, for a Kshatriya to voluntarily give up his life, sacrifice his life, he doesn't consider it as a tragedy. In fact, he considers that as a great dharmic opportunity. And closer home, this kind of sentiment is very much prevalent in Rajput families, at least to the extent I know. Probably even the great Marathas also had this kind of sentiments. So whenever there is an opportunity for a war, when the Rajput princes, they go for the war, when they take leave of their wives, the wives do not send them with tears and all. They don't say, oh, this is the last time I am going to see you, you are going to the war, you may come back alive or not, and all that. There is no such crying and wailing and all that. In fact, they smilingly send away. In fact, they do puja and send away their husbands to war. Why? Because they are also Rajput princesses and the Kshatriya blood runs in them also. They are proud that God has given them an opportunity for sacrifice. And even today we see in many army families, this kind of a sentiment is very much prevalent. Something to do, something we can sacrifice for our country. So it's nothing that Krishna is pointing out or trying to tell Arjuna something special. Arjuna being a Kshatriya, as per the Swadharma of Kshatriyas, which Krishna will talk about later, This is a great opportunity. A Kshatriya is not supposed to sit down in this chariot and then cry and then, put down his bows and arrows and all. It is a shameful act on the part of a Kshatriya. So Krishna tells Arjuna that this is not an occasion for crying. This is not the time to grieve. Yadrichaya upapannam. By chance, you have got this great opportunity to make a great sacrifice of your life. And not only that, if you are going to sacrifice your life, you may lose on this earth. You may lose your life on this earth. But from the Shastric angle, from the scriptural angle, from the dharmic angle, this is an opportunity to go to Swarga. Because again, according to Dharma Shastra, when a person sacrifices his or her life for Dharma, he gets an automatic visa to go to Swarga. That is called Veera Swarga. So, the scriptures talk about two types of, paths to Swarga. One is earning a lot of punya, doing some rituals and things like that and all. You can go to Swarga. And there is a special rule for the Kshatriyas. They need not do any rituals or anything, but for sacrificing their life for the sake of Dharma, they get Veera Swarga. And therefore Krishna says this is Swarga Dwaram. Swarga means heaven. You can roughly translate as heaven rather. Dwaram means gateway. So Dharma Yuddha is a gateway for heaven for the Kshatriyas. And that too, what type of a gateway? Apavritam. It is open door. You don't even need to go to Swarga and knock and ask for permission to come in and then show all the credentials that I have won this war, I fought this war for Dharma Yuddha and all that. Sakshi Chaitanyam is there always watching everything that we do. Even our thoughts are being read by the Sakshi Chaitanya. Bhagavan knows everything. So the door is open. The Swarga doors will be open. And again, it is not for all the Kshatriyas who fight wars that this door is open. Sukhinah Kshatriyaha idrisham yuddham labante. Only the fortunate Kshatriyas, the blessed Kshatriyas alone will get such an opportunity, such a call for a noble cause. And we must not forget, here Arjuna or the Pandavas are not merely fighting for the kingdom. They are fighting to establish Dharma. Because under Duryodhana and company, the whole country, the kingdom, the society, everything has become very, very adharmic. Adharma has raised its head to such an extent that now it has to be crushed. And that's the reason Krishna is on the Pandavas' side. Sambhavami yuge yuge, he said, Dharma samsthapanarthaya. So Krishna's main idea is he is not very much bothered about whether Arjuna wins, Pandava wins, Duryodhana wins or anything. His main agenda is Dharma should be re-established because that is one of his duties in this avatara. And Arjuna is only an instrument to achieve that goal of Bhagavan Krishna. So that is why he is trying his level best, and he finds himself a little helpless because this Arjuna fellow, on whom he has put all the bets to fight and win this war, this fellow has lost his confidence and is sitting down and getting into all moha and delusion and things like that and all. So Krishna is trying his level best to bring back Arjuna into the battlefield, into the mood to fight. And he does it in a very, very structured way. He is now revealing to Arjuna all the secrets of what life is all about, secrets of this entire universe. And while telling Arjuna that this is a great opportunity to go to heaven if Arjuna sacrifices his life in this war, in the next sloka, Krishna also points out, he outlines the opposite situation as to what will happen if Arjuna refuses to fight this war. He presents both the sides of the coin. Atache tvamimam dharmyam sangramam na karishyase tataswadharma kirtim cha hitva papamavapsyasi. He says, Atachet tvam na karishyasi imam dharmyam sangramam. Sanmaya. Atachet tvam na karishyasi imam dharmyam sangramam tataha hitva swadharmam kirtim cha avapsyasi papam. So he is presenting the other side of the coin. Ata, on the other hand, chetvam, if you, na karishyasi, do not fight, imam dharmyam sangramam, this dharmic war, this dharma yuddha, tataha, then hitva, you will be forsaking, swadharmam kirtim cha, you will be forsaking your duty and also your honor. Avapsyasi papam, and not only that, instead of punya, you will be gaining papam, you will incur sin. So Krishna is now warning Arjuna. No, it's actually not a warning. He's pointing out the other side, the consequence of Arjuna not fighting the war. So he says, on the other hand, if you do not fight this righteous war, then you will be forsaking your duty and honor, and also you will incur sin. So earlier he said that you have a great opportunity to fight this war and even sacrifice your life by which you will attain heaven. And suppose Arjuna argues that I am not interested in heaven and all that. I am very happy with my life on the earth. And I want to spend the rest of my life happily with Bhishma, Drona and all that. And therefore, I would not like to kill them. And then if I have to kill them and go to heaven, such a heaven I don't want. He has already told that earlier. So I am ready to sacrifice the heaven for the sake of Bhishma and Drona, etc. Anticipating such a thought process in Arjuna's mind, Krishna says this in this shloka, the message he gives, that if you do not fight this war, not only you will not get the heavens, that is, forget it. On the other hand, you are going to get hell only, because you are going to gain a lot of papam. Why is that? You will get a lot of papam because if a person renounces his duty, that omission of that duty is considered to be a papam according to Shastra. Papam in our Shastra is divided into two types. One type of papam is that in which doing what should be done is not done. Oh, sorry. One type of papam is doing what should not be done. That is the papam of commission of a forbidden act. This is one type of papam. That is doing what should not be done. It is called, in Sanskrit, called Nishiddha Karanam. Nishiddha Karanam. So Nishiddha Karanam means doing what should not be done. What has been prohibited, you do that. For example, suppose the Shastra says, Suram na pibed. You must not consume alcohol. You must not take to liquor. Actually, according to Shastras, one is not supposed to even smell liquor. One should not even go near. Even smelling is considered to be a type of papam. Of course, compared to drinking, it's a lower type of papam, you can say. Drinking is a higher type of papam. So, drinking liquor is Nishiddha Karma. So, that papam is Nishiddha Karana Rupa Papam. So, in English, if we say, it will come under a sin of commission, committing a sin, which is one type of papam. Then there is a second type of papam, which is not doing what should be done. For example, taking a very worldly example. We are supposed to pay the taxes, and that is the duty of every citizen. Or taking even a scriptural example, we are all supposed to perform Nitya Karmas ordained in the Shastras. This is a to be done duty. And if a person does not do that, then he is punished. So this type of papam, which is occasioned by omission to do what is to be done, is called vihita akaranam. So two types of papam, nishiddha karanam and vihita akaranam. Both these types of papam one should avoid. And that's why we chant, the following prayer when we seek pardon, kshama, for if we have committed these two types of papa. Karacharana kritam va, kayajam karmajam va, Sravana nayanajam va, manasam va paradham, vihitam avihitam va, sarvam etat kshamasva. Whatever I have done, karacharana kritam, whatever papam I have done with my feet, with my hand, kayajam karmajam va, with papam coming out of my body, with my body parts, whatever I have done, karmas. Sravana nayanajam va, if I have done papam of hearing all wrong things which I should not hear, or my eyes have wandered around and have looked at things I should not be looking. Manasam va, with my mind, I have done some papam, some aparadham. Vihitam avihitam va, that which is ordained, which I have failed to do, or which has been prohibited, which I have done. Sarvam etak kshamasva. Please, Bhagavan, pardon all my such crimes, such papam, such acts of both omission and commission. And this prayer is to be told every day. Because many times we might be committing some papam act without even knowing the consequences, or without even knowing. Because today's time, none of us know our Shastras completely. Some of us may know a little bit here, this is to be done, this is not to be done and all, but nobody knows. So this is a sort of an omnibus, seeking pardon. Confession, not exactly a confession in Christian terms. Here it's an omnibus. Whatever I have done, please kshamasva. So vihita akaranam, avihita karanam cha sarvam etak kshamasva. Therefore, if Arjuna does not fight this war, it will come under vihita akaranam papam. It will come under omission. Therefore, Arjuna will get papam for the sin of omission. In Sanskrit, in terms of our scriptures, it is called pratyavaya papam. Vihita akaranam means pratyavaya papam. And that is what he says. Atachet imam dharmyam sangramam na karishyati. On the other hand, Arjuna, if you do not fight this dharmika yuddham, this sangramam, sangramam means yuddham, this dharmic war, if you do not take up your arms to fight this war, then swadharmam hitva, vihita akaranam kritva, you will be omitting, shirking your duty. You will be forsaking your duty. And what will be the result? Papam avapsyasi, you will incur papam. And what will be the consequence of this papam? Suffering in this janma, and if not in this janma, in future janmas. In short, naraka prapti eva phalam bhavati for papam. For punyam, sacrificing one's life for the sake of dharma, swargam prapsyasi. And when you are failing to do your duty, which has been ordained as per the Shastras, Kshatriya's swadharma is to defend the dharma, defend the harmony in the society. If they fail to do, narakam prapti eva phalam bhavati. Therefore, Arjuna, you may not be interested in swarga, but at least to avoid narakam, you have to fight this war. And Krishna now points out one more consequence of this Arjuna not fighting. He says the consequence of this papam is not restricted to naraka alone. Therefore, not only you will get narakam, kirtim cha hitva, you will lose your name and fame also. Krishna will talk about this in the next slokas, about name and fame. So with this shloka, the dharmic drishti is over. In fact, I think I mistakenly told that the laukika drishti has started. This is the last shloka for dharmika drishti, because this shloka is finishing dharmika drishti and starting laukika drishti, and that is why the kirtim cha hitva is there. So that is the connection between the dharmika drishti and laukika drishti. So 3 shlokas in dharmika drishti, 31, 32, 33. So Krishna is pointing out in these 3 shlokas is that fighting this war is ethical for a Kshatriya, and Arjuna being a Kshatriya, and this war being fought to restore dharma, it is Arjuna's duty to fight. So this completes the dharmic angle. Now, he had talked about kirtim cha hitva. You will lose your name and fame. In the next sloka, Krishna explains more. He elaborates about losing this name and fame. Akirtim chapi bhutani katayishyanti te vyayam sambhavitasya chakirtim chakirti maranadadirichyate. Kirtim, yeah, kirtim should be there. Okay. So he says, Anvaya, apicha bhutani katayishyanti te avyayam akirtim sambhavitasya cha akirtihi atirichyate maranat. Apicha, moreover, bhutani, the people, katayishyanti, will impute, will talk, te, your, avyayam akirtim, the permanent infamy. Akirti means infamy. Sambhavitasya, for a person who has been honored till now. Akirtihi, this infamy, atirichyate, is worse, cha maranat, than death. So he says that the consequence of getting this papam, doing, that is this, committing this papam, is not only that you will get naraka, but also you will lose all the name and fame and honor that you have earned till now. Arjuna, just imagine that. The topmost warrior of those times, Arjuna. The moment Arjuna's name is taken, the entire opposite army, the soldiers and everybody will tremble. That is the kind of, valor and name Arjuna had. He has got so many honors in terms of, even he has fought with Indra and defeated him. Such a famous Arjuna, if you refuse to fight this war, Arjuna, the infamy that you will invite will be worse than death. And not only that, it's one time, people will impute permanent infamy to you. So this is another serious thing. Now what is Krishna doing? He is coming down to the Laukika level, and at the Laukika level, what acts is our ego. Because fame, infamy, all these things are all related to our ego. That nobody can say that I will, I am prepared to lose my name and fame. So after having given all the philosophical view, ethical view and all, now Krishna is coming down to the Laukika Drishti, empirical, pragmatic, worldly angle, worldly standpoint. Because some people may say that I do not believe in this Atma and all that kind of thing. Some others may also say that I do not believe in Punyam, Papam, etc. All this I don't care. Because Punyam and Papam, they are all adrishtam. They cannot be seen, which cannot be perceived by our sense organs. That which cannot be experimentally demonstrated also. We cannot see Punyam and Papam with a telescope or a microscope, etc. Even if you use some ultraviolet rays and all that with the help of some instruments, we cannot see Punya wave or a Papa wave with anything. They cannot be established scientifically. They are only known through Shastra Pramana. Therefore, a so-called, who calls himself a rational person, Paguttarivu in Tamil. He will say, I do not believe in this punyam, papam, etc. I also do not believe in swargam, narakam, etc. I don't have any idea about this Atma and all that you are talking about. Therefore, can I now run away from this war? If Arjuna says that, he will say, why should I fight this war? Krishna, you are talking about all these things on which I have no faith at all. So, anticipating such a response from Arjuna, Krishna is pointing out that Arjuna, even if you do not believe in all these things, you still will have to fight this war. Because if you do not fight this war, your status in the society, your value in the society, the respect that you enjoy in the society will vanish, will crumble, will completely be destroyed. You will lose your name and fame. Because in today's society also, this is what we experience, isn't it? Most of the people, almost, you can say, except for few exceptions, most of the people are interested only in their social status. They will do anything to maintain their social status. All these things that we hear about this Vijay Mallya and all these fellows, looting people, looting banks and doing all sorts of akramam. Why? To maintain their social status. Even forget all those people. When we go to some party, some functions and all that, some social gathering, we will ensure that we are very nicely decked and completely groomed, putting on some perfume and things like that and all. Why? We are always worried about how other people will think about us. This is a refrain for most people. What will others think? What will others think? Even with our own children, when our children say we don't want to get married or we want to get married to someone of our own choice, the parents' answer will be, why are you doing all these things? What will people think about us, about our family? We belong to such a very orthodox family. Generation after generation, we have lived in a certain way. And now this son, you see, he is going to give a wrong name to the entire family. So most of these kind of thinking, these arguments are not whether it is right or wrong or good or bad. That is not the question. The question is, if that happens, how will I show my face outside? Whether it's a wedding function, even people will stop going to the temple because there they may meet some people. How will I show my face to those people? I have been meeting them every day for so many years. So what I'm saying is, apart from the examples and all that, in any number of examples that we can think of, rather this was one area where we can get numerous examples if we start thinking about it. But we must look at it as objectively, right? The point that is being made here is that it is right from Bhagavan Krishna knows everything. He knows that Arjuna could be a person who also is bothered about his own name and fame, social standing, social status, etc. Because as a Kshatriya, Arjuna has got a very strong Rajasic ego. He does not have a sattvic ego. Sattvic ego people the people who have got predominantly sattvic ego will not care for all these social status, name, fame, and all that. Whereas people who have got a very strong rajasic ego, they will always be bothered about their social status. And therefore, Krishna very, very wisely brings up this issue. Says, Arjuna, you have got such a name and fame. You are considered the greatest warrior in this earth. Not only you have won laurels on this earth, even Indra calls you for assistance, and you often go to the Devaloka and then fight wars for Indra. All these glories you have. But unfortunately, right from the beginning, if you had decided not to fight the war, it would have been okay. If Arjuna had said, no, right from the beginning, I am not going to fight this. But if a war comes, I am not going to take up arms. If Arjuna had said that and decided that and made it public, then also people will understand there is no question of any name and fame being lost. But Arjuna had come to the battlefield fully armed on his great chariot to fight. You came right to the front, and at the last moment you withdraw. What will people say? People will only think that seeing Duryodhana's army, you have developed cold feet. They will give you a new title, Coward Arjuna. They will say the moment Arjuna saw all these people, he could not even stand on his chariot, so that is why he sat down. You may try to explain that it was all out of compassion for Bhishma, Drona and all, but nobody is going to believe you. Nobody is going to accept any such excuse, even though that may be the right reason why you are doing. Arjuna, just understand. That is how the whole society, people think. And mind you, this Duryodhana and company will spread all kinds of rumors about you. And not only that, they will commission poets to write poems after poems about you, about your running away from the war. And even after 20 centuries, people will talk about that Arjuna who ran away from the battlefield. So Arjuna, do you want such a stigma in your name? Don't you recall what is said in the Niti Shastram? Pranam vapi parityajya manameva bhirakshayet anityo bhavati pranaha manastva chandratarakam. Pranam vapi parityajya. Even by renouncing life, pranam parityajya, manam eva abhirakshayet. Protect your name, fame, and honor. So may you protect your name, fame, and honor even by renouncing life. Anityo bhavati pranaha. This life is impermanent. Manahatu achandratarakam. Whereas name and fame are permanent and they survive as long as the moon and the stars and the sun, etc. last. This is a sloka from it's a subhashitam from Niti Shastram. So Krishna is trying to remind Arjuna, don't you know this? Have you not studied this? And generally, we have seen this in This theme is something very, very close to all the filmmakers. When you make a film with this manam, apamanam business, it will run box office. Because everybody relates to this. Every human being who has got this strong ego relates to this. In some of the communities, it is very, very strong. Some communities, it is not so strong. But still, every community, they talk about manam and apaman, ijjat in Hindi. The honor of the family, honor of the individual is more important than even life. It's a very sad thing, in fact, We see, newspaper and all, we read some teenagers committing suicide because they have not passed some exams, a higher, +2 exam, or some entrance exam for some courses and all. Even we have seen some cases, very funny cases. They have passed, but all along they were first rankers, and this time they did not get a rank, so they committed suicide. Very sad. So having got the rank all the time, just once they didn't get, or someone takes lot of loans, runs into some huge debts in order to what? Show off, create a artificial status for themselves in the society. Some of them, they even keep all these things a secret from their own spouses. Spouses also don't know. And one fine day, they have no means to repay their loans. The lenders are chasing them day and night. What they do? Either they commit suicide or they kill the family, and they also commit suicide. Why? Because this manam is more important. They have no capacity. They are not able to withstand apamanam. Therefore, they take their own life. So Bhagavan is pointing out, hey Arjuna, if this is true for every ordinary individual, for you a Kshatriya, how important should be this manam? By running away from this battlefield, do you want to live with apamanam, or do you want to fight and sacrifice your life? And therefore he says, Bhutani katayishyanti. All the people will talk, insulting you, belittling you, criticizing you. They will spread rumors. Akirtimapi katayishyanti. They will give you permanent apamanam or infamy, which is avyayam. Avyayam, in this context, we have to take the meaning as passed from generation to generation, never ending. It will not be destroyed at all, avyayam. That infamy is avyayam. That apamanam will be avyayam. So avyayam akirtim bhutani. Bhutani means human beings. So they will spread all these news. It will travel like a wildfire. Arjuna has run away from the battlefield. All media's top headlines. Arjuna puts down his arms and runs away from the battlefield. And if, of course, people like us and all, if we are not unknown, we are all unknown people in the world. So even if some ill fame and all that comes, nobody knows. Then there are people who consider themselves as very famous people. That is why if somebody says about them, they will go to the court and file some case and all that. What is that case called?
Defamation case.
Defamation. Manhani in the Hindi is called. That means, oh, I have been defamed, so I should get so much money. They assume first that they have got a fame, then they will have defamation. So, but then people like Arjuna and all, certainly they have got a name in the society. For such people, if apamana comes, it is extremely excruciating and very, very painful. Therefore, he says, Sambhavitasya, having enjoyed the fame as the greatest warrior, the most courageous person, Arjuna, you have been enjoying this fame. And suddenly, if you are dropped down, akirtim, if you become infamous, people talk all sorts of things about you. And they won't be talking just like that. It will be because you have decided not to fight the war. You are giving them on a platter a reason to talk ill about you. And that kind of a talk, that kind of a ill fame is maranat atirichyate, is worse than death. It is better to fight and die in the war rather than die a slow death every day, listening to all your infamous words that people are going to talk about you. You will not be able to show your face to anybody. Even your own spouse, Draupadi, will not let you inside the house. She will say, what, Arjuna? Huh? You didn't have even this much courage to fight this Duryodhana, who has actually, they have actually, I thought that you will take vengeance against these people for all that they have done to me. I don't want to see your face. Kunti will say, all these tapas of mine, bringing up all you five Pandavas as great warriors. What has happened, Arjuna? Are you really my son? These kind of questions will be raised, Arjuna, and that will be worse than death for you. And therefore, Arjuna, better die than live with ill fame. And then he continues. Bhayadranadu mamsyante tvam maharatah esham chatvam bahumatah bhutva yasyasi laghavam. Not only family and all, he says, maharatah cha mamsyante tvam uparatam ranat bhayat bhutva bahumatah yesham tvam yasyasi laghavam. So it's not just family members or general people in the society. They all know you. You have a great fame among the people. But Arjuna, just understand, the great warriors have got a great respect for you till now. They consider you to be a role model for, fighting a war. These Maharathas, these great warriors, they have been following your life because they want to gain a lot of lessons from your life. And if you run away from this battlefield, what will they think? Maharatha cha mamsyante, the great warriors also, mamsyante, will consider, will think, tvam, you, uparatam, to have withdrawn, ranat, from this war. Why bhayat? Out of fear. Bhutva bahumatah, having been very honorable, esham, to them, tvam yasyasi, you will come, laghavam, to disgrace. So these great warriors will also think of you as one who has withdrawn or run away from this war out of fear. Having been such a great role model, great honorable person to such warriors, you will come to disgrace. So the same idea of mana, apamana, Krishna continues in this sloka also. So apamana is not just restricted only to the society, people talking about Arjuna running away and all that. If Arjuna withdraws from the battle, that is, if at all he withdraws, and we all know that his reason for withdrawal is not fear. In Arjuna's mind, it may be compassion and respect for Bhima, Drona, etc. But then, what is Arjuna's thought is not visible to anybody. What his action he does will be visible. What prompted that action is not visible. Therefore, the society and the world will never know what Arjuna's intention was. Since, unless of course, they read Bhagavad Gita later on. So at that time, since it can never be known, there is enough scope for spreading all kinds of rumors. Even though Arjuna's cause may be legitimate, but Duryodhana's people, they are not going to keep quiet. This is a great opportunity they have got to spread all kinds of rumors about Arjuna. And they will simply say, Arjuna got scared of my army. Duryodhana will say, he saw Bhishma, he saw Karna, he saw me. Then he saw Dronacharya also. Finished. Arjuna's thighs started shaking. He himself has said, Mukam cha parishusyate, his lips dried up. He sat down. We saw all that happening. And then finally, he gets down from the chariot, uparatam karishyati, and then he goes away. What has prompted? Nothing but scare. Arjuna was scared of Duryodhana's army and their fighting prowess. Therefore, Arjuna ran away from the battlefield. And this is told repeatedly to people by someone who is a king, who is sitting in the throne. People will start believing it as a fact. And once the name has gone, it is very difficult to get it back. And do you know what is the first thing Duryodhana's people will say? Bhayat ranat uparatam. They will say Arjuna withdrew from the battle only out of fear. How are you going to disprove the rumor? Whether it is because of fear or because of respect. Nobody will know the truth, nor they can understand the truth, because the truth is in your mind. Therefore, Mamsyante Tvam Maharata hai. All the great warriors, Maharata hai in Kaurava side, they will all consider that you have withdrawn out of fear. And one more consequence, Arjuna, you must remember, the moment you withdraw from the war, your entire Pandava army will be run over by the Kauravas and they will butcher them like anything. All your brothers will be killed. You are the only one who are standing here preventing your Pandava army from being completely annihilated. If you run away from this war, this is another consequence. This is all, of course, Krishna is not saying in so many words, but we have to read all these things. What will happen if Arjuna withdraws from the war at this stage? And not only that, even Karna is waiting for an opportunity, because you, Arjuna, and your Pandavas have been throughout insulting Karna. In Mahabharata, if there is one person who faced insult all the time, it is Karna. And that too for no reason, no cause of his own. Poor guy, he was born to this Kunti. and abandoned. And he was brought up by one charioteer. And from that time, he has been known as Sutaputra. The Kshatriya blood is running in Karna, but unfortunately, nobody recognizes that. And he has been a victim of all sorts of insults. Pandavas, even Draupadi have insulted Karna. He was called Sutaputra. Even in the 11th chapter, when Arjuna is seeing the Vishwarupa of Bhagawad, he refers to Karna as Sutaputra only. Whereas Krishna knows the truth, he never ever refers to Karna as Sutaputra. He refers to Karna as Karna only. Therefore, if Arjuna runs away, Karna will say that he was actually, Arjuna was surveying the army and he saw me. And I just looked at him, that's all. That was enough. He decided to withdraw and run away. Therefore, Maharata hai, Karnadaya hai, they will look down upon you, and Esham Chatvam Bahumato Bhutva. Until this moment, they were all respecting you, they were keeping you in awe and fear. From this moment onwards, you will become a laughing stock in front of them. Laghavam Yasyasi. You will go to disgrace in their vision. And Krishna continues in the next sloka. We will see that in the next class. Okay. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you all very much.
Thank you very much,
you,
Guruji.
Mama.
Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you. Namaskaram.
Thank you.
Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you.
Namaskaram.
Guruji.
Namaskaram. Thank you. Namaskaram.
Thank you.
அடுத்த சனிக்கிழமை கிளாஸ் உண்டு இல்லையா?
Only Saturday I will not, sorry, Sunday I will not have Vishnu Sahasranam class because I will be traveling. But then following week, Saturday, Bhagavad Gita will be there.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Guruji. Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you. So if there are no questions, can I close the session, or if there are questions, please raise your hand.
Guruji, Namaste Guruji. My name is Satya. Am I audible, Guruji?
Yeah, you are audible. Tell me.
Yes, Guruji. So, given in the current world, us Hindus, we are actually facing a lot of terror from other Abrahamic religions, give it India or give it US. And even in Kashmir, like a lot of Hindus are being killed. Either it could be vengeance from our side or their side. So when as a community we are being put under so much pressure, and so how should, according to Krishna, so what would be Krishna's advice for us to act under such circumstances?
See, the first question we have to ask ourselves, how much dharmic life we are leading.
Yes, Guruji.
Krishna will say, Varna Sankara and all Arjuna talked about, in the first chapter.
Yes, Ji.
Varna Sankara has taken place. We ourselves have given up all the dharmas, or all the things that we are supposed to do according to our scriptures. We have weakened our religion like anything. And so whenever we are weak, our immunity system in the society is weak. Coronavirus will attack us only. All these are all like coronaviruses. They are attacking us and they are taking advantage of our weakness. And that is why there is now a lot of effort being done to unite the Hindus and bring out some sort of a pride. I tell you, it is so pathetic that even in our community, like I'm just giving you an example, Brahmin community is supposed to be very orthodox. South Indian Brahmins are till date quite orthodox people. Today, I went to attend one of the 60th birthday of a lady who is some distant relation to my wife. Not actually distant, even close relation, cousin. Is my wife's cousin's wife. They held a Sashthyabda Murti for that cousin's wife in Ayyappa temple in Bombay, in one of the Ayyappa. We went there. I went there very happily. Okay, these people are, you know, what was the scene there? There was one Maharashtrian lady Pandit sitting there. And that lady Pandit is having a book, and then she's going on explaining something to all the audience in Marathi. Of course, unfortunately or fortunately, I don't know Marathi, so I didn't know what she was talking. Then there was some Omakuna. That husband, normally in our Sashthyabda Murti and all, we have got Rudram, Samatram and all that, Navagraha Puja, so many things that we do. All that was totally missing. And some Maharashtra, something she did, and some fire she put on. Then this lady was asked to put with this what is that stainless steel, you know, this spoon. She's putting some ghee in that fire, and that other lady, and only two people on the stage, that Maharashtrian lady priest and this lady who is, they are doing. The husband has just walked away. No garland, nothing. This is the celebration. We ourselves have brought ourselves to this level. And if you ask them that we don't believe in all these things, we don't believe in Vedas, we don't believe, they will just say. And they are all belonging to proper families. When I say my relation, they are all, I just wanted, I mean, if I didn't want to unnecessarily interfere or criticize or anything, because it's not my job to see. I went there, had a very nice food. The food was served as purely our South Indian food. Caterer had done a very good job. I had full nice food. We came away. But what I was very sad, you know, I mean, even this much, you know, 60th year is supposed to be this, we do this Sashthyabda Murti as a Prayaschitta Karma. Nobody has any understanding of any of these things. And then if somebody criticizes you, you say, oh, that fellow is harming me, that fellow is criticizing me. For the last 5,000 years, after the Mahabharata war, what has happened in India is this only. Slowly, our Hindus have been losing. Shankaracharya appeared sometime in the 7th, 8th century in order to revive this whole thing. He did a good job. I mean, almost he brought, you know, like Buddhism was taking over. So many Jainism was there. They were all doing. So Shankaracharya came on the scene, and then he tried to revive this whole Vedic culture. But that did not last for a long time. Then came the Mughal invasion, then you know, the English invasion. The basic bottom line is we have all become slaves for money, like everybody else. We are aping the Western society, and that is what they wanted. All Gurukulams have been destroyed. So when all these things are there, we are the ones who are to blame for that. How many of us, I just told you about Nitya Karmas. How many of us actually at least to do the Nitya Karmas, how much time it is going to take in a day? Here the only Nitya Karma many people have seen doing is sleeping till 8 o'clock in the morning. That is Nitya Karma. Every day, without fail, they will do. If it is Sunday, additional Nitya Karma, 2 more hours, 10 o'clock. That is the Nitya Karma I have seen doing. Otherwise, the Nitya Karma is at the Sandhya time, they will switch on the TV and see all the soap operas, crying, wailing, you know, fighting, and you know, all sorts of negative thoughts. Sandhya time is meant for taking the name of the Lord. This is what they do. And all these people know. So that is you see how our society, how our culture has been destroyed over the past 5,000 years. And today we stand up and say, oh, we Hindus are being victimized. Somewhere, some people have come, like Shivaji came and then he fought the Mughals and some extent tried to revive it and all that. But then when we are weak, we cannot blame. Can you blame coronavirus that why you are coming and attacking me? You cannot blame the virus. The virus job is to attack you. That is to survive. For virus to survive, it needs to have a abode. Your body is that abode. So it comes. So how you can protect? By immunizing yourself, isn't it? So what
Yes.
our society today requires is not only 2 shots of this what you call vaccination. It requires continuous vaccination and also booster doses and all that. That is what all of us have to do. And I am happy to see that there are many attempts being made in that. Unfortunately, people had got a lot of expectation from a so-called Hindutva government, but that was a false expectation. You cannot expect the central government having this constitution to go out of the way to do anything for a particular community.
Yes, sir.
It is the people themselves, they have to do everything that they want to do.
Yeah.
That is how it is. In Tamil Nadu, it is a very sad state, a state which is where people were having so many temples and things like that and all. Today those temples are being just
Destroyed.
bulldozed. Nobody is raising anything. There is no, even if a few people raise some voice and all, that voice is being subdued.
Subdued.
There not be, because why? Even the so-called Hindus, they are all going for money only.
Yes, sir.
Majority population where Hindus are there, even there, these temples are being, you are not able to protect yourself. So how do you expect anybody else to protect? So the only way is, if you have lost it in 5,000 years, if we all start today, maybe it will take another 2,000 or 3,000 years for us to get back that glory. And in the meantime, we should not lose whatever we have also got. And that is what I am seeing happening. Whatever little that we have got. My grandfather used to do everything. My father reduced all that, Vedic lifestyle, living lifestyle. For me, it was further reduced till I retired from life. After retirement only, I have got the, awakening has come rather. My children, they will further lose little bit what I am doing now. They are not interested in my Vedanta classes. They are not interested in anything that I am doing rather. So that shows that there is, there is a disconnect there. What will they teach their children? Nothing. So this is how we have been, the whole thing has been. I am not saying it with any sense of any criticizing or anything. I am just presenting objectively what has been happening, and we must all realize that.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
And we cannot complain that they are doing this, we are doing. We have first done it ourselves. Sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
They are taking advantage of that. That's all. That is the sad state. What to do? That is why Vedanta is the best solution. Don't worry about this thing. All is mithya. I am Satyam. That's it. Let me not have a rebirth in this world, because if I get reborn, again, it is going to be worse than what this birth has been.
What is this? Yes, sir.
Kali Yuga, as it progresses, and if you have read little bit scriptures, Kali Yuga, you cannot do anything. This is what Dharma is going to be completely destroyed towards the end of Kali Yuga. Man will eat man. That's what Bhagavatam says. So we will reach. I don't want to see all that. I don't want to experience. So let me get my moksha, my freedom, my liberation by doing all the sadhanas which I am required to do. If not in this janma, at least if I do it in this janma, I am sure of getting a better janma next time to continue this. All these assurances I have got from Bhagavan Krishna. Personally, he has given this assurance in Bhagavad Gita, and I totally trust that. That is my approach. I said, don't worry about all these things happening. I cannot do anything about it. If there is somebody comes to my house for some help, I can help that person. I cannot change the society. I cannot change. I can change myself. Whatever I change, I have to bring in myself. I worry about it. And that has been the approach of even Swami Paramathananda and all that. They don't try to go. Swami Dayananda Saraswati, of course, he had a much bigger role. He tried to do certain things, but in his lifetime, but nothing has fructified. What all he tried to do. Something, of course, have like, this forming, getting together all the dharmic, institutions in Tamil Nadu together under one umbrella. Certain things he did. And then gave the responsibility to Swami Omkarananda ji also. But then he also took Samadhi. So now that is all again an orphan. That whole institution is an orphan now. Who is running it, I don't know. What I'm saying is, this is all coming, so many obstacles are there. What can we do? Worry about yourself. Attend Bhagavad Gita, learn Kathopanishad, learn Upanishads, do all the sadhanas, try to get out of this. Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Maranam. That's the only solution.
Yes,
Not selfish, but that is what we are all meant for. So that is why let us fast forward that process. That's all.
yes. Dhanyawad ji. Thanks a lot for this answer. Nice.
Thank you. Yes, Sulekha ji.
Hari Om Guruji. My question is regarding Karna and the attitudes of the Pandavas towards him. I know that in the Bhagavad Gita now we're coming down lower step by step to human ideals. I think that's what we're doing. From the higher, we're coming now step by step. And in terms of the attitudes towards Karna, it doesn't seem that it was very dharmic. Now, it is a story, but the behaviors and attitudes of the Pandavas towards him seems to have some repercussions, excuse me, because they seem to be very adharmic. So how do we reconcile this? If the message and the essence is to be dharmic people and to live our life in a way which is considering others as much as we consider ourselves, that we are all a part of one cosmic whole, how one treats others. And maybe this comes back to Satyaji's question about various societies forming against each other. My question, or maybe it's just a comment, is this type of adharmic behavior seems very, very different to the message that the Bhagavad Gita has been giving us thus far.
Well, in one way you're right, because Bhagavad Gita, the relevance of Bhagavad Gita is actually placed in the middle of Mahabharata. Bhagavad Gita is a sort of an answer to all that has happened in the Mahabharata before the Gita Upadesha was done. Bhagavad Gita recognizes this fact, what you are saying, that these people's behavior was adharmic. And that is why Krishna is emphasizing in this Bhagavad Gita again and again and again what he emphasizes on Sarvatma Bhava. They didn't have that Sarvatma Bhava earlier. That's one side of it. Is Duryodhana's adharmic actions is one aspect of that. But Pandavas also, they are also not very blemishless kind of a thing. They are not that they were actually leading a very dharmic life. Pandavas had Krishna on their side all along. In fact, Krishna was related to Pandavas. Krishna in one way is a maternal uncle of the Pandavas. But they never ever approached Krishna for anything. Even here also, in Bhagavad Gita also, Arjuna did not tell Krishna that, Krishna, I am in a trouble, can you please guide me? His initial decision was, I'm not going to fight this war. Then after getting totally confused only, he says, okay, now you please tell me what I should do. And that too, after Krishna sort of, in the beginning of the second chapter, the kind of words, Klaibyam mana gamaf partha, you don't become like a transgender guy. What are you doing? Coming to the war and then saying that I'm not going to fight. Where is your manliness? So when Krishna uses that strong words, Arjuna gets into total confusion, and that is why he asked Krishna to teach him. Otherwise, all along he was sure, I'm not going to fight this war, isn't it? So we cannot say that Pandavas are something very, dharmic people. Only Dharmaputra, we can say, among the Pandavas was highest in following the dharmic principles. But even he did not know Dharma completely. And that is why Vishnu Sahasranamam was there. That's why he goes, whatever I don't know, please teach. He asks Bhishma to teach him, isn't it? So we have to just be very objective about this. We cannot say Pandavas were very distinct. For example, take Draupadi's case. Was she a very great woman? I mean, for somebody who is trying to slip and fall, and then you laugh at that fellow, this is what the cheap people do, rather. And that is what angered Duryodhana. Because Draupadi laughed at him. And she even told him, are you blind? You can't see that there is no... Because there was a illusion created that the floor was having water. So Duryodhana, in order to not step on the water, he tripped and fell. And Draupadi was watching and she laughs at him. And that angers Duryodhana. Said, this woman, she is not understanding. I saw water there. I thought there was a water. So the illusion created. Of course, that's a long story. But what I'm saying is, when somebody falls down and hurt them and you laugh, what kind of a character that it is shown about you? So we must see Mahabharata. See, this is the biggest difference between Mahabharata and Ramayana. Ramayana, there the protagonist, the hero, is full of dharma only, complete embodiment of dharma. Whereas in Mahabharata, we find all sorts of, that's why it is Mahabharata. It all, every emotion, every kind of behavior of all human beings, all types of human beings, including all cheating and how people can be, taken for a ride and all that, Vyasa Maharishi has brought into this Mahabharata. For us to, when we read Mahabharata, we can understand what all kinds of things, we may not even have imagined such things, that such people do exist in this world, such thought processes exist. So we cannot say that, all these people are all great and all, they're great warriors, all right. Yeah. Another supplementary question?
Yes. I think Hariji had a question if he'd like to go first.
Yeah, I don't mind. Anybody?
Hariji, please.
When we talk about adharma done by Pandavas, for me the biggest adharma which they have done is 5 people sitting there and Draupadi being dragged. And when Dushasan and Duryodhan, when they are trying to disrobe her, all these spineless 5 people who are talking big things, they were all sitting there as spineless being and watching the fun. They may be giving any sort of reasons, whatever may be the thing. The very fact that Lord Krishna is advising Arjuna to fight against adharma, these people should have fought then and there. that is also the adharmic activity being, and they were witnessing it. And where did Krishna go there? There can be so many historical background or historical reasoning can be given. But when we are talking about fighting against adharma, I don't think that we will ever be able to condone what these 5 spineless men physically and mentally and Dharmaputra, the Dharma Raja, where did his conscience go?
Yes, that was not a question, because that was just adding to what I told.
No, that is no that
Correct. What you're
that
saying.
is some.
We must look at these things very objectively. We must not get carried away because these people are dharmic. Just because Krishna happens to be on their side, as I told you, Krishna is not bothered about Arjuna, and Arjuna is only a nimitta. Right? Later on, he will say, nimitta matram bhava savyasachin. He will say, you are not doing anything, Arjuna. You are only nimitta for fighting this war and re-establishing dharma. Krishna's only agenda is, I want to re-establish dharma in this. Whether that adharma is being done by Kauravas or by Pandavas, he is not bothered. I want to re-establish dharma. But that has to be done not like some magic or someone, Krishna using his superpowers and all that. Because if he does that, everybody will start expecting, oh, okay, that's what happens today also. Bhagavan will save me. Bhagavan will save me. God helps those who they help themselves. That is the message Krishna gives.
Guruji, at the end of the day, it is Bhagavan only protected Draupadi.
Why? Because she called for Bhagavan.
Yeah, and she surrendered.
Yeah, she surrendered. So he protects her. Correct. So Bhagavan we have to call. Here also, till Arjuna told him to teach, he didn't teach. But did he start teaching? Arjuna said, Shadimam Tuam Prapannam, I am surrendering to you. Then only Krishna started. So the message for all of us is that we must, if we want anything in our life, we must learn this surrender. And I have given a very big talk on surrender also in one of the talks. What does surrender mean? Surrender does not mean becoming a slave or anything. Right? So that is what it is. Yes, you had a question, Sulekha ji. Sorry.
Thank you, Guruji. Thank you, Hariji. Just my follow-up question, or maybe it's more of a comment as well, is that, through the Bhagavad Gita, through the Mahabharata, we are seeing an enactment of many different personalities, but behind that are the essence or the messages. And those personalities may be a mirror held up to reflect us. Each of us has many good points within us and many negative traits in which we need to address. But my question or comment or clarification needed is around the role of a warrior, and not a warrior who fights others, but also one who fights their own inner traits and has to master those first. So to be a dharmic person or to be dharmic in this society is not to necessarily point the finger at why others are doing something, but more so, what is it within one's own self that sees the world in that way? So that projection of oneself. So to me, the role of a warrior, whether it's Arjuna or any other character in this play, is what have they done to make themselves the best warrior, to be aware of themselves, to see themselves first in how they act towards others, also how they act towards themselves. Like we have to be, our most precious self is ourself. We can't share that preciousness unless we ourselves recognize it. And then that can be freely given to others. And so I think my question, I have to contemplate more if I'm not, saying it clearly, is really this role as a warrior. I think it's a figurative way of saying that maybe one needs to master oneself first before pointing and fighting towards others. It's just a question, maybe a comment there as well.
Well, see, we are only in the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita. We have got 16 more chapters to go. All that you are saying will all come out. In fact, what Arjuna was in the first chapter, what Arjuna turns out in this 18th chapter are two different Arjunas. Absolutely, Krishna focuses only on these things. First, to win over your own self. I mean, we will see all that. I mean, there is, when you study the whole of Bhagavad Gita, you will know that at stage by stage, Krishna actually, Krishna's agenda is Arjuna should fight the war. Correct? Now, he should not fight the war merely because Krishna is telling them to fight. Now, Krishna will open up this issue. The war is not only the war against Duryodhanas. There is also an inner enemy whom we have to overcome in order to become a better person to understand why I should fight this war. So the entire Bhagavad Gita is nothing but transformation of Arjuna. And if we understand the teaching of Krishna through that, it will be our own transformation rather. Transformation from a confused, deluded human beings to a human being who understands all emotions, everything, and how we have to overcome that. And what are the sadhanas that we have to do in the process also, Krishna touches upon that. When we go through this entire Bhagavad Gita, you will realize that that is the transformation of Arjuna which is taking place. And he raises all the questions that many of the questions that we discuss here in the satsang. Arjuna raises those questions in the Bhagavad Gita itself to Krishna, and Krishna answers. Right?
Oh,
So,
and
have patience, you will get everything. It may be going a little slow in the sense that I mean, following my gurus, I am dwelling deep into each aspect rather. It's not just a sort of, peripherally, I just, this is the meaning, and get away. We are just reflecting upon all those issues also from our own experience and what we are today experiencing that in the world, that point of view also. So it may be a little bit slow, the progress rather. But wherever we can fast forward it, we will fast forward it. But there are areas which we have to sit back and contemplate. Otherwise, Bhagavad Gita will be just like reading some Sanskrit story book. Read it, know the meaning, that's it. No contemplation. That's not meant for the Gita. Okay.
right. And I so appreciate the satsanga as well as the classes. And
it's a gem treasure, so everything you will get.
I also wanted to say that I think through the classes themselves as students, we also become transformed if we listen carefully and hear not just the translation per se, but the messages, and see how that one can reflect that in one's life. And also it gives a lot of hope. To me, it's not a discouragement at all. People act badly, whether it's in a play or whether it's in real life, and people act beautifully as well. That's the nature of the world. Both is there. And if we see one, the flip side of the coin is the other. And there's a great hope in the evolution or the transformation of society or one's own self as an individual. The dharmic way of life is not something that you can read from a book.
Yeah.
Nor even get transferred from a guru.
Yeah.
It has to be one's own ability to see that and to see each person as if they're your own self. That's my own point of view, Guruji.
Thank you.
And I've been very fortunate that you're giving the classes and through my own mother. And
all of us are fortunate. I would say it's a common thing. Because the more I actually teach you, the more I study myself, and the more I realize so many things about myself. So it's all, see, the improvement cannot come overnight. It has got to be, it comes in very, very small increments, but that itself is a very great thing rather. to realize that I need to improve itself is a very big achievement. Many people even deny that they require any improvement, you know. So if anybody understands and realizes that I need to improve, I need to change, I need to become a better person, that itself is a very great beginning. Then nothing will stop you. Then we will all keep on looking for those small things. And in the process, many times we may commit mistakes, which we will later on think back and say, oh, I shouldn't have done that. I have taken a sankalpa not to do such a thing, but that happened. So the moment we become conscious of that, something we have done which we should not have done, that itself, again, I would call it a big improvement. That we have actually noticed, we are being aware, we are watching ourselves. We don't need any monitors. We are self-monitors. I am monitoring every thought in my mind. I am monitoring every action. Even though some of those actions, I might speak to somebody very harshly. But instead of justifying it, later on, if I think, oh, I shouldn't have spoken, maybe I could have said the same thing in a different way, better way. If I start thinking like this continuously, next time when I do it, probably I will improve over what I have done in the past. This is how the improvements have to take place. We have to watch ourselves. We have to contemplate. We have to correct ourselves. Nobody is going to correct us. And for that, guidance is available in all these scriptures, Bhagavad Gita and all that. That guidance is available for us. That's all.
And I think that guidance, if I could say one last thing, Guruji, is it's available through us, through the scriptures, through a guide who is understanding of the scriptures, who doesn't interpret it in a way in which it was not meant to be interpreted, who understands that each one, like a mother, I think you said earlier, gives the amount of the right amount of food in the right way. So for some, it has to be easily digestible. And on that note, I'm fortunate, I have to say, because I have a wonderful mother, my most precious of Devis and guides, my mother here in Toronto, and my husband and my son and many others who teach me every day that this dharmic world is dharmic, because they themselves reflect that. Their actions are very pure. So I'm fortunate that I've met those people in this lifetime as well. So
good.
Thank you.
Hariom. Thank you.
Hariom. Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, I think we can then close the session. Thank you very much. See you next Saturday. Hariom.
Thank you, Guruji. Thank you so much.
Guruji, when are you leaving?
Next Sunday morning, I will be leaving. And I will be landing in the US time Sunday afternoon, 2 o'clock. Okay. So that day we will not be able to have Vishnu Sahasranamam. But following Sunday, we will be back to track. Only for Vishnu Sahasranamam. Bhagavad Gita is not being affected at all. So no problem. Okay. Bhagavad Gita, I will finish the class, and then that night I am traveling. I'm taking a flight early morning, Sunday morning. Yeah.
I wish you in advance.
Oh, thank you.
Safe flight and bon voyage.
Yeah. Very good. Okay. Thank you very much, all of you.
Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you,
Guruji, I wanted 5 minutes, Sulekha-ji, and say I was little late today to come to the class. I had gone to an institute. It's called St. Jude's in Hyderabad, and they are now taking care of 16 children. All of them have got cancer. All of them have got that. They will be staying there for 6 months, and then they will go back, and they will be replaced by another batch of only cancer patients. I was shattered, 3 years old, 2 years old, 5 years old, both boys and girls. Sad. My faith was shaken when I saw the children. There is anything called justice in this.
Well,
Yeah, I can karmic and
These
that
are
philosophical justification or reasoning we can give. But when I was coming back, I didn't want to, I wanted to meet you people today. That is why even I came on, I was late by about 35, 40 minutes. I still thought I must come and attend the class and talk about it. It was, I was really shattered.
yeah. Anybody would be rather. I mean, see, that's a 16 you have seen. There are millions whom we don't see at all. They are also
Yeah, true. Where is justice?
suffering like this rather. So whether we call it karma or not karma and all that, that's a different thing rather. That is not even, it's not philosophical rather. I mean,
Yeah.
to say that, the seed that you sow, that plant only will come is not philosophy, right?
Yeah.
If you sow the seed of a mango tree, mango seed, you cannot get apple out of it. That is not philosophy.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, what happens is all these things, whatever we talk about in our scriptures, this law of karma and all, we think that we label it as philosophy and try to say it's all philosophy. Nothing is philosophy. This is all absolutely laukikam only. What you do, so you sow, so you will reap. That is the law of nature rather. Whether you sow in this life or past life or whatever it is. So whatever we are, of course, that does not mean that we must totally ignore it. That is one aspect of it, understanding the cause for it. But that does not mean that we cannot do anything about it, right? The best thing that we can do is pray for them.
Yeah,
that's the best thing that we can do in case we are not financially capable of helping them. So at least prayer does not require any finance. And why only pray for them? Sarve Jana Sukhino Bhavantu is a very, very omnibus prayer that we have got in our culture. That prayer, go on saying, praying to God that whatever any suffering anybody has got, please lighten their burden, please make it less, difficult for them. That is the prayer that we should continuously be doing, not just for the 16 children, but for the entire world. Because our belief is Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, the whole world is one family. So it is not just because we are experiencing certain problems, that does not mean that the problems are restricted only to that. So that is why I'm saying that is one thing. Second thing that we can do is, if we have got the means, economic means, in whatever way that we can help, we should try to extend that monetary help or whatever help that we can do. We should be able to do that. In fact, I don't know about this particular institutions. There are so many institutions which actually extend, free treatment for cancer patients rather. So we must, if we want to really work, help them, we must work towards, getting the details of such institutes and all that. And whenever we come across anybody who cannot afford the treatment for this deadly disease, we can refer those people to those institutes, help them in getting some financial aid and things like that and all, and also help them in that particular manner. So what we must do is, instead of Arjuna sitting and getting shattered, we must see what is it that I can do to help these people. That should be our attitude. That is how we must approach these problems. Even when we see a person, destitute person on the street, without having any food or anything, there is a natural instinct in us that we want to go and help. We want to give some money, or at least, if not money, buy some food and give it to those people so that they can eat. So we just can't be seeing the destitute person and we ourselves become also sad in our mind. That is not the way, we should react. We must try to help rather. So I would be, my own thought process would be that of course, it does affect us because our mind is like that. We are all very emotionally driven people. When we see such things, we are bound to get upset, as a reaction rather. But reaction should not last for a long time. We must respond. What is the response that we give? That depends totally upon how we want to deal with this situation. And whatever best, I mean, these are only some 2 small suggestions that come to my mind, but there may be 100 other ways in which we can certainly, help. Why only cancer patients? Because you went to that place there, you go to so many other places. Forget
Yes, sure.
old age homes are there, many old age homes that people are really very desperate there. So even if we visit those old age homes, so something that we can do for them, that is how our attitude should be, our help should be. So the emotional part of it is one side, very much valid. I would not belittle it, or I would not say that is wrong or anything. Philosophical part, or whatever you say, which is, I don't call it philosophy at all. I call it very practical, right? And which is in tune with what the laws of nature are. That is one aspect of it, rather. The third aspect of it is, as human beings, only we human beings have been empowered by Bhagawad to think like this and also to act, to help others. You can't expect a cow or a buffalo or a lion to come and help anybody, right? They will only come and eat. The lion will eat, a cow of course will not eat. But it is only the human beings have been specially made by Bhagavan for this purpose only. We are all agents appointed by Bhagavan to perform his function of creation, sustenance in this entire world. That is why we have got the creation power. We can create another human being. A dog or a cat cannot create another human being. So human being is the most precious life in this world. That power to create that most precious life Bhagavan has given to us. We must appreciate that and make use of it, rather. And what is that? Forget creation. Sustenance of this entire world is Bhagavan's job. And that job he cannot do single-handedly. Every human being has got a responsibility to sustain the world order, sustain this cosmic order, in which everything comes. Your law of karma comes, dharma comes, adharma comes, everything. It is our responsibility, not just Arjuna being Kshatriya, he can do. We have to do whatever, given our roles, whatever our varnashrama dharma is. Following that varnashrama dharma, whatever we can do to protect the dharma and protect the dharmis, we should do it. So these are all the things that we have to think about, take lessons from all these scriptures and work. So I really appreciate that you went to that place, and it is certainly, I've also seen some such places rather. And whatever little bit we can do, given our circumstances, we must do it. As I said, minimum is when you come back, go before your altar in your house, sit there for 5 minutes with all your thought process, bringing them together in one place, pray for them. Hey Bhagavan, please, do something for them. They are suffering. I have seen that suffering. I have seen the suffering means you are seeing the suffering, because there is no difference between you and me. So please do something for them. The thing which I have done is seeing that and passing it on to you. That's all. Pray for them. That will itself will be a very great thing for them and for us also. That will be a very big emotional improvement for us when we do that. So that is what my response to what you said would be. Hariom. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Safe flight, Guruji.
Yeah, please. Thank you.